Hi everybody, here with a little KSP commentary video here today. I'm just going to be talking about how to land your lunar landers a little bit more realistically and precisely if you're trying to land at a specific location, or let's say you're landing and there's a crater and you want to avoid it, something like that. This should be somewhat handy for you. So here I've just got a clip of me landing something using this method. So here I'm just obviously following the retrograde marker with my engines on, and I'm not at full throttle because I want to approach the ground not too steeply. That's going to give me time to see any obstacles and avoid them. I'm modelling this off of the sort of Apollo landing technique where they'd have an initial decircularization burn. P64 would then tip it over, and then P66 would be sort of the manual control section. So I'm sort of basing it off of that to allow me to have greater control over where I want to precisely land. Because obviously a lot of players will just follow their retrograde marker and hope they don't land on a cliff or something. That's fine for beginners. It's a great method to sort of get them used to landing things on planets and moons. But eventually you want to start to gain a little bit more control over where you're landing and avoid any potential hazards. So this is to help you guys out there. I'm still following the retrograde marker there. Again, not at full throttle. I'm just trying to keep a steady descent. If I was at full throttle, I'd be going pretty vertically straight down right now. But I want to keep most of my horizontal speed and reduce my vertical speed continuously, not all at once, just so I've got great control over where I'm landing. The mod also I've got here is the heads up display mod. You can find it just up in KSP heads up display mod. Shows me my attitude, the horizon marker, and my prograde and retrograde markers, and this makes it so much easier to see precisely where I'm going to land. I'm basically using my prograde marker as an indication of where roughly I'm going to land at, and that makes things much easier to sort of estimate and control. So you see I'm still following my retrograde. I'm just trying to reduce enough horizontal speed. I'm starting to tip over a little bit now, because I can see there's some craters up ahead and I want to avoid those. So to avoid those I want to pitch over and fly over them. So you can see here I'm just pitching over more, and that's going to basically reduce the amount of horizontal speed that I'm losing and maintain some of my vertical speed so that I can gently glide over them. And you can see my prograde marker there on the heads up display, sort of gently moving up away from the craters. That's what I'm trying to go for there. That's going to basically mean that I'm moving sort of more towards the horizon, more over them, more over the craters. So I'm just maintaining that, and I'm using full throttle for this maneuver, just to make sure that I'm maintaining a nice bit of vertical speed. So I'm not going straight up, I'm not going straight down, I'm sort of hovering more or less. I've got the ground altitude marker on as well. That's giving me a more accurate estimation about how high up I am from the surface, excuse me. That's just letting me see how high up I actually am. So I'm still gliding over, I'm still maintaining that more pitched over position, just to glide over the craters. Obviously I don't want to reduce my horizontal speed too much, otherwise I'd be sort of hovering in one spot. So I'm making sure to make sure I'm maintaining my enough horizontal speed to clear these craters, but also enough vertical speed that I'm not falling down too much or flying up too much. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just adjusting the throttle, but also adjusting, as you can see, my pitch as well. Because if I adjust the throttle too much, I'll lose the speed that I need to clear these craters. But if I adjust my pitch too much, I'll also lose it. So it's just a judgment call here. So you see I'm pulling back a little bit because I want to lose a little bit more speed while clearing this crater. So this is a good speed. Obviously I'm losing it a bit because I'm at an angle, but I'll pitch over more to resolve that soon. You can see my marker there is still over the crater, so I'm going to clear that second crater coming up as well to land on that sort of flat area there. I've decided I don't want to land in the crater, I want to land just forward a bit. I've got plenty of delta V in this thing, so fuel levels aren't a problem. I can make enough maneuvers to protect me from any sort of hazards. You can see my surface speed's lowering now, and if I maintained this position I'd probably be going a bit too slowly to clear the crater in a reasonable amount of time. or I'd hover there, so I'd have to adjust my pitch to be forward, but I do make a small manoeuvre just to correct that in a moment, because I do slow down quite a bit. So this could be considered the final approach now, and this is when you want to start, here we go, pitch over. This is when you want to start sort of scouting out your final landing spot, as well as reducing the final amount of horizontal velocity. But right now I'm just clearing this crater, so I'm pitch forward, I'm not losing much horizontal velocity at all. And I'm moving quite slowly, but that's fine, that's giving me enough time to scout out a landing location, and I've got plenty of fuel, so that's not a problem. If you're low on fuel, I'd recommend being a bit less liberal with your throttle, but I've got time to spare, you know, so it's no problem. I'm just gliding over, I'm just managing my throttle so that I'm gently gliding over. You can see I'm almost horizontal now, or vertical, sort of standing up as if I was landed, and that's because I don't want to lose much more horizontal speed. You can see I'm sort of dipping the icon down a bit, so I bring my pitch forward just to make sure I'm maintaining what speed I've got. So now I'm gently moving towards the edge of the crater and towards my final landing spot. And you can see now I'm also adjusting my roll to make sure that I'm not sort of moving left or right as well. I just want to make sure that when I'm coming in, I've got only one axis to worry about. I'm not worrying about left and right as well, so to speak. Because I'm coming up to the edge of the crater now, just pitching forward a bit more to maintain my horizontal speed. Still hovering in there, really slowly, as you can see. Gives me plenty of time to correct something if something goes wrong. Gives me plenty of time to consider my next move and where my landing spot is. You can see I'm just clearing it now, so I'm pulling back now to reduce the rest of the horizontal speed. I don't want any horizontal speed when I'm coming down for the landing, otherwise I'll tip over, or the potential of tipping over is there. So as you can see, I've pulled back, reducing that. You can see now it's dropping because my horizontal speed is going down. And I'm just managing the throttle as well to make sure my vertical descent speed is sufficient, that it's not going to damage the lander in any way. So I'm just bleeding off the rest of my horizontal speed now. I'm not going at an extreme angle here, I'm doing it gradually, so I've got fine control over the vehicle. The RCS helps me here as well. And as you can see, I've pretty much lost all my horizontal speed. Okay, really slowly now. So I'm going to start to bring it down. I've reduced the throttle a little bit just to make sure that I'm moving downwards. You see I've still got a little bit of horizontal speed, but it's so negligible that it doesn't really matter. But I'm just trying to bring it down close to zero as I can. Gently coming down, you'll see the shadow soon. So making slight adjustments to make sure my horizontal speed is close to zero. As you can see on the nav ball, moving so slowly now that it's pretty much negligible at this point. There's the shadow, you can see I'm just bringing it down nice and slowly, below 1 meter per second now. So this is extremely slow, extremely safe. There we are, and just like Apollo 11, I'll get close to the surface and cut the engine, drop down and land perfectly safely, exactly where I wanted to. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully this is useful for you whenever you want to land more precisely or avoid a crater or something. And give these manoeuvres a go, let me know how it goes for you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.